Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about assists and co-op KIZUNA, and I have some more teams for you guys to help take down the assist fights in your co-op KIZUNA. Now, when it comes to KIZUNA, there is a strat that most people like to use called the suicide strat, and basically what that means is you dive in with your fully boosted team, and then you just leave the event and you request an assist so your teammates can actually save you. That way you still get all your rewards and your teammates also get tickets, so that way they can get to the higher box level. Now, I do advise that everyone do this strat, communicate with your team members, get them to save you, because not only can you do an assist every 15 minutes for free, you can basically build up a lot of these tickets to get more of box number 7 at the KIZUNA rewards. It just works for not only endgame players, but it works for new players. And you can also get a lot of experience. So for today's video, I have included some Marco teams for you guys to actually take down all of the 10-star events. I have a Marco team for each of the events, and I have a 1-team versus all that includes 2 Marcos. Now, Marco gives so much XP that if you are a player that doesn't like to farm XP like myself, now is kind of the time to do it, because you kind of have to do 2 birds with the 1 stone, right? So I'm going to be using Marco teams. Like I said, I have a one team versus all that uses double Marco. And if you guys want to build up your pirate level, this is the best way to do it. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button. But let's dive in. Let's take a look at the Marco teams, and let's take a look at what the actual event does. Alright, so here we go. We have the breakdown. Once again, thanks to Bandai and the Twitter. Link in the description below for you guys if you guys want to check that out. So we are going to take a look at the strength variation first. And in the strength variation, it's a little bit annoying because the enemy can actually change types. Now, strength, dex, and quick characters get their cooldowns, which is awesome. But then on stage 2, you get 5 turns of paralysis. On the final stage, they spawn 2 red pirate penguins. Now, this is basically built for Usopp and Brook. If you have Usopp and Brook, they obviously make this stage a lot easier. They also increase the Super Boss tokens, but in assists, you don't actually get Super Boss tokens, so that's why I do recommend sort of running these Marco strats. There is immunity except for delay. There is a type change randomly to either Dex or Quick or stays as Strength, so any of the 3 primary colors. 5 turns of Threshold, 5 turns of Special Bind, and then after level 30, or once the enemy has a certain HP threshold, there's extra Threshold and Special Bind. So it's 6 turns of Special Bind, 6 turns of Threshold, and then that's pretty much all that there is besides that Captain Swap. So the Marco team I've put together looks a little bit like this. Now, you do want to try and satisfy a whole bunch of different colors, because you don't know what that type's change is going to be. Now, Marco doesn't get his cooldowns for this particular fight. However, you can actually activate Marco's super type, because we are running a full fighter team, which means, super class, which means he'll actually auto-trigger on stage 2, and that way you can get his attack boost on stage 2, and then his chain boost on stage 3. Cap Viper is great, because Cap Viper can actually give us an orb buff, get an attack buff for the final stage, because he gives the clock buff. Or actually, you can't stack those 2 together. Now that I'm looking at that, that's a little bit of an issue. We'll probably have to use Dogstorm here. We'll probably use Dogstorm instead, and then we just won't use the special on stage 2. You just use the attack boost, so that way you don't have the clash of the clock buffs. Luffy is going to be our orb booster. He gives us matching orbs. Bon Clay removes the threshold. He removes the special bind, and then thanks to Sanji and Pudding, they are going to be our color affinity booster. With the supports, we have Chopper, we have Rayleigh, we have Izo and Okiku for paralysis. If you guys don't have Sanji and Pudding, you can just take off the team with another paralysis remover, really, because Bon Clay also does color affinity. Now, if you have Black Maria, you could easily use Black Maria where this Luffy is, as Black Maria is actually boosted in this event as well. She gets all our cooldowns, and she's actually a powerhouse unit. You already have the 5 fighter units. She's great because she can actually give you a delay conditional boost, which means you'll do a lot more damage as well. The 1 team versus all kind of works a little bit nicer than these primary teams, but at least this gives you guys a little bit of an option for what else you guys can actually put on the team if you need to. Black Maria also removes 2 turns of paralysis as a sailor, so that actually works pretty hunky-dory. Onto the Dex fight now. Free Spirits, Powerhouse, and Slasher characters get their cooldown. There's 2 turns of Special Reverse on your Sailors, and you can't get cooldowns unless you hit 3 goods. So you get the Lock Special. On the boss, he spawns 2 green pirate penguins, there's immunity excluding defense down, so you can set defense to 0 and get a defense conditional. But then there's 5 turns of a strength, dex, or quick barrier. So you have to hit with one of those orbs, and it's for 5 turns, which is a little bit annoying. However, they do make the slots unfavorable, so you can sort of build a team around getting these particular slots. And when you are building like a one team versus all, it actually works out pretty nicely. And you only have to tap once to break the barrier, so you can manipulate this. There's also 5 turns of resilience, there's 5 turns of defense up, and if you use an end of turn damage special, usually this is a good way of getting out resilience, but for this fight, you can't. If you use an end of turn damage like unit, they're going to remove all your beneficial buffs and then give you ship bind. So the ship bind and the remove beneficial effects is only if you use a end of turn damage debuff. So just be mindful of that. After level 30, you get an extra turn of resilience and defense up. So 6 turns of resilience, 6 turns of defense up. And the team that I've built looks a little bit like this. Now, I kind of just threw this together super fast. I just want to sort of, again, give you guys some other ideas to actually take down this fight. Straw Hat Crew is a great option. Their final tap's very, very strong. Once again, finally, actually, with this one, Marco actually gets his cooldown, so you get his special at the final stage. Queen can remove defense up. You have base stats there. You have the shenanigans with tandem slots, if you can get the tandem slots. Carrot as captain can go through the barrier, so you have that option. And then Bond Clay, once again, can remove the resilience, so it all works out very, very nicely. If you have Who's Who's another really, really good option for this particular team. He's a really good color affinity booster, a really good chain booster. But remember, you do have Marco as well to actually like auto trigger and trigger. The idea is you just want to bring at least 5 fighters on the team, so that way you can actually utilize the super class of Marco on the first stage. Like I said, the one team versus all is kind of like the big thing for this particular fight. But I just thought, again, I wanted to give you guys some other ideas of what you can use. The final variation is actually the quick variation. Now, you get Free Spirit, Powerhouse, and Cerebral Characters cooldowns, which is great because Marco gets his cooldowns. And then on stage 2, there's 2 turns of paralysis. You get a 50% HP cut, and then you cop 50,000 damage on death. So just be mindful of that. Like, it can be a pretty hefty sort of hit. So make sure you bring some sort of damage reduction or healing or something like that. On the boss will spawn 2 quick pirate penguins, 99 turns of full immunity, full board of recovery orbs, 8 turns of despair, which will actually go down to 5 with sockets, and then you get an attack down if your chain multiplier is less than 2.9 for 5 turns. After level 30, you're going to get an extra turn of despair, and you get full board of unfavorable slots, becoming type slots. I don't know if it rotates them into unfavorable slots. I think it just makes type slots into unfavorable slots. We'll have to wait and see once that actually comes around. So basically, you want to get around 6 turns of despair here, and you basically want to bring a chain locker 3 times or higher. That is going to be your best friend. So the team that I've sort of put together here, again, led by Marco, we have Luffy on the team for an orb boost, some tandem slots. Sanji and Pudding can give us color affinity. Rayleigh can remove the paralysis with his support on Luffy. Mistems can give damage reduction because you get paralyzed on stage 2, so that works out very nicely. Queen can be a chain boundary unit, and then Lucci's a base stat booster. He's another orb boosting option. And then with this team, again, because Powerhouse is boosted, Marco becomes your attack booster. You get his chain boundary with his super class as well. So it all works out pretty hunky-dory there. Again, some other options for you guys to actually take down this fight. Finally, the team that I'm probably going to be rocking looks a little bit like this. Now, the one team versus all with Marco is just going to be really, really nice, especially in the early stages. Just not having to think about changing teams. That ace support is completely unnecessary. You can completely change it if you don't have it. Do not stress. But Marco gets his cooldowns on 2 of the fights. The only one he doesn't get is on the first variation against the one that changes into Strength, Dex, and Quick. So either way, you're going to always have Marco's special live on the final stage. So he can be your attack booster no matter what. For the other for the other one, he's basically just going to give you the chain like boosting effect. With this, it works out quite nicely as Sanji is another chain boosting unit. And you actually don't have them clashing because Sanji is basically here to not only remove the paralysis on the first fight, as well as the second fight, but he can actually use the Onami support. So when you don't need to use him on stage 2, you actually get the chain bound boost of Sanji, which is great. But when you use him on the fight that has the defense up, which is the fight against the Dex boss, you can use the Onami support to actually set the defense to 0. Then with the Frankie Shogun unit, you can actually use that, like the Frankie special, to give yourself an attack boost, but you can also you give yourself an attack boost and orb boost, as well as have the Robin support to give yourself a conditional against defense down. Now, the big reason I have Frankie and Sanji on this team is because my Luffy is Super Tandem level 5, and that way I can actually get the Super Tandem ability for my free spirits, being Bon Clay, Luffy, and Sanji, as well as Frankie as well. Frankie in the side variations actually getting boosted under Marco, and there's still 5 fighters, so that way I can activate the super class, so it works quite nicely. Luffy has the Mistim support, that way we're getting the damage reduction. You also get the cooldown, which is very important as well for this particular team, as Marco can actually give cooldowns and stuff like that as well, but so can Luffy, which is actually great. Bon Clay, he's actually a cheat code for this KIZUNA. He can remove Threshold, Special Blinds, Resilience, and then with the Mr. 1 support, you can remove more paralysis, you can give yourself a chain boost when you don't have the Marco ability live, I think. I'm pretty sure you have Marco's ability, like the chain boost, live for every single variation on the final stage. And then the one that you don't, well, the one, like with Marco, I'm pretty sure you do, like, honestly. Yeah, I think you just do. But, so that Mr. 1 support might actually be unnecessary. Nevertheless, this team should work really, really well. Frankie is really good because he has Barrier Pen to get through that very annoying barrier. But with this particular team too, you do get some orbs that you could try and manipulate. However, with Luffy, you are going to rotate them. Same with Bon Clay, so just be mindful of that as well. If you don't have a Super Tandem level 5 Luffy and you did want to build a team very similar to this, if you don't have the Super Tandem, you don't need to bring Frankie or Sanji. However, Sanji works very, very well for this team because he's not only a fighter, but he can give extra chain boost with his Sailor ability as well. But you could also use Carrot. Carrot's another really good option. She's an orb booster, but when you use Carrot, she actually becomes the captain, and that way you can actually go through the barriers, and she's just an easy replacement for that Frankie if you are looking for something else that will work very, very nicely. But Frankie gets cooldowns on all the stages because he's Dex. He needs a free spirit unit. So I'm going to sort of build it this way. But let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys are going to be running Marco teams or if you're just going to be running some other one-team versus or whatnot for the KIZUNA. Best of luck in the co-op KIZUNA. We will be streaming one of the days. Maybe Thursday night we might be streaming the second day, or maybe tomorrow night, a little bit after it goes live, once I have a chat to my actual alliance and stuff like that. But if you enjoyed the video, belt the like button. If you're new, hit that big red subscribe button. But most importantly, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!